The Flash has now officially become one of the biggest disasters in the history of cinema. As of right now, this movie is expected to incur a loss of almost $300 million at the box office. Yes, this is the same movie that was being labeled as one of the greatest superhero movies of all time by critics at fan screenings weeks before the actual release of the movie. While I do not entirely agree with the critics, I do feel that this movie was actually better and more unique than most of the superhero movies these days, especially the Phase 4 MCU movies. I felt that the movie was fast-paced, it had a lot of heart, the comedy really worked for me unlike some of the cringe MCU jokes, some very cool action sequences and of course a captivating storyline. And this is not even the first time that DC and Warner Brothers have to go through such a negative reception from their audience. In fact, the last time that DC benefited monetarily from one of their live-action movies was Aquaman, which released like 5 years ago. Of course the Batman and Joker were commercial success, but they are not part of the bigger DCEU, so I will not count them in this regard. What could be the factors that led to this overwhelming negative response for the Flash movie? Before answering this question, I just want to make a small request. Talking about comic book movies, games and TV shows is my biggest passion. If you want me to continue doing this, I just want you all to do me a small favor. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really means the world to me. Okay, now let us get back to the topic. The Flash movie was basically a loose adaptation of the Flashpoint Paradox comic book. But the main motive of this movie was to reboot the old DC universe. So essentially this was one big goodbye letter to the old universe. But the problem is, no one really cared about the DCEU in the first place. The DCEU was doomed to fail ever since the release of Justice League 2017. There was no coming back from there. If you leave out the hardcore DC fanboys and the Snyderverse fans, the general public has no attachment with the characters from the DCEU. A lot of people saw this universe as a cheap knockoff failed attempt at creating something like the MCU. One of the main reasons of the failure of the DCEU is the studio interfering time and again with the director's vision and dictating them their terms every single time they want to create something unique for the fans. The studio has interfered more number of times than the Usos have interfered in a Roman Reigns match. Imagine removing a 45 minutes to an hour of runtime which contains some of the most important scenes of the movie from the original director's cut and trimming down the movie to a runtime of just 2 hours just to get more shows and make more money. This is exactly what happened to two of the most important movies of the franchise, Batman v Superman and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Those two movies were supposed to be the foundation and the backbone of the DCEU going forward. As I said, everything after that was just piling up the problems on top of each other. There was no coming back. Until last year's Black Adam and the Flash movie, there was not even one single cameo in any DCEU movie from the two most iconic DC characters, Batman and Superman. Well, there are a couple of them, if you count these utter ridiculous cameos. The studio kept ignoring the fans, right from the very beginning. They felt that making a Birds of Prey movie that literally no one wanted to see was more important than a proper sequel to Man of Steel. If the studio kept ignoring the fans all these years, it is no surprise to me that the fans are now doing the same as well. Aquaman 2018 was the last time I was remotely satisfied to some degree watching a live-action DCEU movie. After that, everything that came out felt like a cheap knockoff MCU movie. Some of these movies felt even worse than some of the CW shows. At least with the CW shows, you know what to expect. And the Arrowverse is still a full-on interconnected universe which involves Easter eggs and cameos of characters reminding us fans that these shows all exist within the same timeline. Warner Brothers had the best Justice League cast they could ask for to create a great cinematic universe for the ages, and they totally threw it out of the window and wasted it. The negative response and all the failures they are witnessing now are nothing but consequences of their actions over the last decade. And to me, this does not seem surprising at all. No, this has nothing to do with superhero fatigue. Just last year, Robert Pattinson's Batman movie made almost $800 million. The Joker became the highest-grossing R-rated movie ever, earning over $1 million at the box office. So, people are not tired of watching these characters. People just do not care about this universe called the DCEU and they would rather watch this movie when it comes out on OTT. However, all these are in the past. Now, we have a new beginning with the upcoming Blue Beetle movie. James Gunn is a brilliant director. He will definitely learn from all the mistakes and faults that I have spoken in this video about the previous regime, and he is not going to repeat them at any cost. I have full faith on him, and I truly believe and hope with all my heart as a DC fan that he brings back the former glory of this amazing, truly magical comic book universe that we all love and adore. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.